They do, but she didn't want a local. She's a rich widow, inherited a butcher shop. You know how folks like to gossip, especially about anyone who's better off than them. Do you know anything at all about exorcisms? You know, banishing ghosts, smudging, spells. As it happens, there is. Drahomira, a widow from Ledechko, requested my services. But it's a long way on foot, and me with my back in such dreadful pain. I simply can't face the journey. It's not a task to be undertaken lightly. This is a real ghost, the spirit of a dead man who hasn't found peace. In order to banish him from the world of the living, you'll need to do a few things. What a despicable thought! No. Do you know what smudging is? You'll need 10 poppies and some flowers from the deceased grave. Once you have all that, bring it to the house that's being haunted. Light it on fire, and the smoke will purge the place of any unwanted spirits. You're not afraid of ghosts, are you? What about it? Did you manage to get rid of him? And what else are ghosts but the result of a guilty conscience? Don't take the dead lightly. You could have managed without the cross, though, if you'd really done as I told you. Ah, pity. I thought this might be just the job for you. That's a question for Drahomira. You'll find her in her cottage on the very edge of Ledechko. It's no game. It's a very serious matter. Drahomira was terrified, and these aren't forces to be meddled with lightly. I've done a very foolish thing. It's preying on my mind so much I can't sleep a wink. Me? Witchcraft? That's nothing but idle chatter. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Go over to Ujits and see what Zlata, Vera, and Kuta are up to, and keep a close eye on them. Laugh if you like, but it's not a word of a lie. You probably know I sell various magic lotions and potions alongside my herbs. Well, there's one I wish I hadn't sold. You see, Vera, Zlata, and Kuta from Ujits wanted a magic ointment from me. I kept refusing them, but in the end I let them talk me into it. The ointment could make a person see such things. But it was stupid of me letting those foolish women get their hands on it. They could poison themselves or fall off a cliff while they're lost in a dream. I don't know if it's the work of the devil or of God himself, but the ointment has that power. But it could poison any person who doesn't know how to use it right. One that will show you a world no one else can see, a place of wonder and terror. The flowers might start talking to you, or the earth could swallow you up. They said they wanted to use the ointment to speak with the dead and ask them to put a word in with the Lord. Because I'm soft-hearted. You see, one of those women, Vera, lost her whole family in Skalitz. And Zlata's husband was killed. And the youngest of them, Kuta, miscarried with the horror of it all. Judge not, lest ye be judged. I didn't want to give them the ointment, but they offered me a pile of groschen. So I thought how desperate they must be, and I heard their plea. That they do. So don't be surprised I'm worried. I'm losing sleep over it. Firstly, those women don't know what they're doing. And secondly, folk might see it as witchcraft. And do you know what they do to witches? Each one of them lost a loved one recently, and it's grieving them. They wanted to talk with the dead. If not for my sake, you should help those women for theirs. Wouldn't the priest want you to make sure no harm befalls them? It contains belladonna and the herb Paris, both quite poisonous plants. That ought to make you think twice about dabbling with it. If you've heard enough, you must understand why I need your help. Find out from those women what they intend, and watch over them to keep them safe. And how did it turn out? Well, aren't you the clever one? But you're young yet. Life will teach you. Here's some herbs and a potion for your efforts. Don't tell me anything. Save your wisdom for yourself. Like I've said, don't take the dead lightly. But here's a potion and some herbs for your work. Hopefully the dead won't be bothering us for some time now. Bah! Believe me, you could have saved yourself the effort if you just waited a bit. It takes some time for the smoke from those burning herbs to reach the great beyond. And as for you, you'd better go. Holy Mother of God, you're my witness I meant no harm. Forgive my sins and have mercy on me in my final hour. Jesus Christ. And how did it end? And you left them there to their fate? Call yourself a man? Get out of my sight. It's all my fault. Those poor women. They meant nothing bad by it. Oh, sweet Jesus, how could this happen? The women meant no harm. They just wanted to help people, and then this. Why? Why didn't you do something? Killed them? God Almighty. You killed the men who went to see what all the noise was about? Couldn't? Don't you have a tongue in your head to explain what was really going on? Don't you have your hands to thwart the woodcutters with? Of course you could have done something. It's just that you didn't. You just need to brew a digestive potion and give it to them 3 times a day in small doses. That'll do nicely. Are you serious? Just because I live in the woods doesn't mean I work for chicken feed. So you'd threaten me, would you? Better men than you have tried and failed. Easy now, lad. Do you really mean to threaten an old woman like me? But, very well. I'll tell you all I know. Thank you 1,000-fold. I'll go to the Reverend myself and explain. You take care of those women. I've nothing to tell you about any witchcraft, as long as it's the truth you speak. Very well. I'll tell you everything. I do, but you can't frighten me with that. There's no need for trouble. I'll tell you everything.